6 months. That's how much time we have until experts say we should really be concerned. You're probably wondering, well, why? What is happening in 6 months? Well, I'm going to tell you in today's video. Because one of the biggest concerns we have had during the days of the pandemic was healthcare. Did the elderly have coverage? Did children that were uninsured, did they have access to free or inexpensive healthcare? And individuals that didn't get coverage under their employer, well, could they get coverage now? Well, let's talk about this. Because this was one of the biggest concerns, and now this concern is coming back with a vengeance. Well, why is that? It's actually pretty simple. It is being reported that the Biden administration is going to declare the end of the public emergency sometime in 2023. That is this coming year. But according to health experts, they believe that this is going to come sometime in the spring. Why the spring? Well, let's address that. The reason why the public health emergency is going to end sometime in the spring is because it's too much of a delicate situation to end it in January, which, again, we are less than a month away before the current end of the public health emergency could end. But according to the Department of Health and Human Services, they say they are not going to end this without at least a 60 to 90 day notice. So good news there is we have a little bit more time. Now, the problem is when this public health emergency ends, experts believe it's going to end whenever we have warmer temperatures. Why is that? Because when we go indoors, we see the amount of people with the flu go up, the amount of people with COVID go up, and this year, the amount of people with RSV. That's an issue. So, what is really going to happen when this public health emergency goes away? Well, first, understand that Congress will not be able to easily pass a bill to extend this, simply because Republicans, they have been wanting to get away and get out of the public health emergency for some time. And once they hold the majority in the House of Representatives, which will happen in the beginning of January, well, they're not going to put this up for a vote. So even though it could pass the Senate, they're not going to vote for it in the House of Representatives, which again will be a problem. The second reason, millions of people are going to lose their relief. This is a huge concern. This is one of the things that we know is going to happen. The estimate right now is anywhere from 5 to 14 million people are going to lose their Medicare insurance the month after the public health emergency expires or ends. Now you're probably thinking, well, why the month after? That's just the way it works in the bill, right? Now, we still have this issue with COVID. This is still a concern. We have the flu going on right now, which will not really be a factor come, April, May, and June. But then we got RSV. This is hitting everybody like a ton of bricks at the moment. Now, not only are we going to lose Medicare insurance, or Medicaid insurance, the other thing, and this is big, this is a huge one, I've talked about this multiple times here on this channel, is we are going to see nutrition assistance take a hit as well. What many people don't realize is that once this public health emergency is over, the COVID supplemental allotment, this $95 plus minimum increase, well, this goes away. The states will not get federal funding to help support you. If the states want to continue with this funding, they can take it out of their own budget, but it will not be from the federal government. Now, obviously, this is a problem. Lawmakers don't believe that states are going to continue with this. And again, this is one of the concerns, is what do we do about those that are not getting enough money for food? Because food prices just keep going up. Well, that's a problem. One thing I can tell you is, again, we're about 3 to 6 months away from this being very concerning to millions and millions of Americans. Now, let's address what ending the public health emergency really does. Okay? Because according to many different records, what we are hearing is that this public health emergency, once this ends, lawmakers have been discussing using this money or taking the budgetary savings and just paying down debt. Yeah, that's what they're discussing. Now, Democrats obviously hold a little bit more power because they do have the majority in the Senate. and it's still a very thin margin in the House of Representatives, and obviously Democrats have the presidency as well. So they have a little bit more power. So what could Democrats do? Well, at this time, here are the priorities that they are currently discussing as to how can they figure out a way to do these things if we do end the public health emergency. Because as of right now, the Democrats would like to extend the public health emergency because it does give the Biden administration a little bit more power, but at the same time, they understand we have to get out of this at some point. So here's what they're discussing. One of the very first things that lawmakers have been discussing is the child tax credit payments. This is something I've said multiple times in the past, that they're always looking at taking the child tax credit payments and bundling those with something else. For instance, corporate tax breaks, which is another thing that lawmakers are discussing. So if they're discussing corporate tax breaks for Republicans, the child tax credit payments for Democrats, well, we could potentially see a closer deal. I believe they're about $20 to $30 billion apart in this discussion, and that is what was causing the issues for Republicans, is they didn't want to go deeper into debt simply because of sending out these child tax credit payments. And again, this isn't something that is just going to go on for another 6 months. This is something Democrats want to make permanent payments to parents of children under the age of 17. So that's obviously up for discussion. The other one is increasing the debt ceiling. Now you're probably thinking, well, do we really need to end the public health emergency to increase the debt ceiling? Well, actually, by ending the public health emergency, according to the reports I've been reading, is that this would actually prolong the need to increase the debt ceiling. And so instead of having to address this by July, we might have to address this by September or maybe even August. So that's part of the discussions as well, is this would actually push the talks back a little bit. And so we may see a little bit more on that. But another one of the priorities that lawmakers have been discussing, again, that nobody's proposing anything. Nobody's proposing anything yet, but they're trying to shore up Social Security and Medicare. They don't know how exactly they're going to do that. They don't know if they're going to raise the Social Security income tax threshold. They don't know if they're going to do something like maybe cut benefits on certain people. They don't know if they're going to increase the full retirement age. Again, there's a lot of options. They could also sunset Social Security. I believe every 5 years is what they discussed. Have Congress vote on this as part of their yearly budget, whether they fund it or not, or how much they're going to fund for it. Again, there's a lot of things up for discussion here, but these are some of the priorities, and these are some of the bigger ones. There's also smaller priorities I'm not going to include in this list, but they are talking about many things. So I just wanted to fill you in on kind of what's going on at this moment, because honestly, we should be concerned. We should be concerned as to how many people lose their nutrition assistance once this public health emergency ends. Because if you do get SNAP benefits and you lose, let's say, 8 to 10% of your benefit amount, right? And some people it's going to be even more than that. But let's say you lose 10% of your benefit amount. Could you survive? Could you pay for food for the entire month? And if you lose your health insurance, are you going to be able to pay for the medication that you probably desperately need just to stay alive? Again, these are questions that we need answers to. So as soon as I got more information as to what's going on regarding this public health emergency, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.